Welcome to the Queen's Lair, a lifestyle podcast. Get inspired by our latest tips and information about small business, entrepreneurship, natural hair, travel, food, and even relationships. Stay tuned for another great episode. I am your host, Renee Patrice. Welcome back, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning into my podcast once again. I know it has been a whirlwind of a week, the past couple of weeks actually. We've seen, just unsettling violence that has gone on in the country, and it just seems like there's been an uptick, with these sort of things happening. And, my heart goes out to all of the families and friends and, loved ones around the folks that have been affected by this, senseless violence that's been going on. It's very unsettling, which just really tells us that we have to keep ourselves together. We have to be more connected as people. We have to treat each other right. We have to, have a better mindset of how we go out into the world, because you just never know when somebody is out there, that just wants to snap and, this sort of thing. And, I know mental health is a major thing. It's not an excuse for violence, but it definitely plays a major part in a lot of the things that we've been seeing going on. And especially coming through the pandemic, there are so many people that are not dealing with it very well. Who would think that a year later, it was a year to this past week that I know my area in Georgia was locked down, that we were locked down here. So the fact that we're still in this a year later, even though there's vaccines and everything going around and all of that, it still does not render you immune to the virus. And I think people are thinking that is going to be a get out of jail free card. Well, I got my vaccine, so I'm all good. It doesn't mean that you can't get the virus. There have been plenty of people that are still getting infected, regardless if they've had the vaccine or not. So we still got to be very vigilant about that and, mask up, people. I know that's a controversial subject in a lot of places, but over here we do masks and social distancing, and we'll continue to do that until we can see sufficient cooperation from the public. There's just so many people who I know so many people that haven't even masked up since day one, which it just boggles my mind. And, it's your choice of what it is that you want to do. And I am by no means going to force anybody to do anything that they do not want to do. But for me and mine, we will be masked up. But I just wanted to kind of open up with that because, we need to think better of each other humanity-wise, It just boggles my mind how little care we have for each other as human beings. I think that being kind and being, gracious and all of that should come naturally, but I guess it doesn't, for a lot of people. And we see people, tear each other down online, people, posting, and I'm not even going to give those, I'll just say T pages. I'm not even going to, name any specific ones, but y'all know all the gossip pages and T pages or whatever they call them, and how they tear people down. And, I don't even follow these pages because I just don't even want to subject myself to stuff like that. And I know that a lot of public figures, a lot of my, more known clients and, celeb folks or whatever tend to follow the pages, not so much because they love it, but they want to know when they're being mentioned or talked about, wrongly or whatever the case may be. And no one should have to be dealing with that every single day. But, this is the sort of world that we live in. I don't always comment on a lot of, like the current events or the gossip of the day sort of thing, but I wanted to touch on one subject that, of course, a lot of people have seen, going on. And I'm not even going to mention the individual's name because I've actually had an encounter with that individual, conversation that was truly a turnoff. So I definitely understand and can sympathize with, folks and how they have felt. But I just want to say this. I don't talk that much about relationships and things like that. But one thing that I want to say is, again, it ties back to us treating each other right, treating each other well. And that is something that I have not always done a great job at, treating others well and being the best that I can be, not being difficult or argumentative or whatever the case may be. One thing that I want to say, because I know a lot of my public, that follows me especially are Black and Latina females, Black men as well, Latino men. That's the major, and then everyone else kind of falls in line after that. As far as the Black and Latino community, I'm exhausted. And when I say exhausted, I mean I'm exhausted that we're not supporting each other, that we are not doing all the things that we can to build each other up. Anyone that knows me knows I'm about positivity. I stay out of the fray. I stay out of the craziness, and nothing around me has been completely perfect in life, including family relationships, personal relationships, all of that. I'm pretty transparent about my life, and nothing has been perfect. But I will tell you, people will always know that I have their back. If I say I have your back, if I say I'm going to support you, I'm going to support you. In whatever way that I can, I will. If I'm not able to be there, whatever the case may be, I'm going to be there in some way, shape, or form. And I'll let you know if I'm not able to do certain things, And we need to start having each other's back better than we have. We need to start supporting each other better than we have. Specifically, family relationships. Why are you bringing gossip from one side of the family to the other? Sometimes you just need to be quiet and watch the scene, or be a true mediator between two people that may not be getting along. Instead of bringing information to this one and bringing information. Listen, I've been in family dynamic situations that one family member A said something to me about B, and B came to me and said something about A, and trust and believe, neither of them know what each other has said to me. Because I don't know if y'all know, but my middle name is Fort Knox. If you say something to me, it's said to me and me only. And I think that that is the reasons why I have been successful, not only in personal family relationships and dynamics of that, and I've been successful in business, is because I know how to keep things separately. And even if something is not perfect, I can still, be chill about it. I can still just go forward and do the things that I need to do in my life. And I'm very particular about that. Very particular about that. So when I see people being mistreated, when I see people, being stepped on, and, there has been, public figure in the last, week or so who has just treated his wife badly. Y'all Google it. I'm not going to, give any type of names or anything like that, because I don't even want to give it that type of shine. But I think also what happens is that when we're dealing in relationships, and especially when you're dealing with people who are in the church, and this is something that I saw online the other day, and I was like, it's so true. People think that because you are a Christian that you are supposed to just lay down and just take whatever is handed to you, that you have to just, go along to get along. And that's not how it works. That's just not how it works. I think that we think that, we should just suffer through and just take all of the abuse, whether it is mental, whether it's physical, or whatever the case may be, because, the Lord said that, I am supposed to stick it out. And listen, I agree, people should try to stick it out. I agree that people should do everything within their power to make something work. But when I see, especially I got to speak from a woman's point of view, because when I see a woman getting stepped on like this, and when I see, a woman accepting less than because she feels like that's what she's supposed to do, it is very, very infuriating to me, especially when there's manipulation involved. And I think a lot of folks feel that you have to be aggressive to be manipulative, and you don't even have to be aggressive. Sometimes you can be passive aggressive, where you don't do anything, where you form the situation to work in your favor because of whatever reason. And that's what I have seen happening to a lot of women. And being that we're in the last, few days of Women's History Month, I especially want to lean into this, because women, I'm all for having a great relationship. But if you are being abused in any way, it could be verbally, it could be emotionally, it could even be sexually, whatever it is, you have to understand you are better than that. You are stronger than that. You have to get someplace within yourself where you understand you don't have to put up with that. You know what I mean? And I'm talking to the fellas too. If you know that you're not treating her right, if you know that you're stepping out, if you know that you're not doing the things to keep that relationship together, if you know that you're not doing the things that are going to be something that lifts you up as a couple, and this is for single people who, when I say single, I mean non-married people in relationships, engaged people, married people. I've been all of those things. And I'm telling you, when the two of you don't work together for a common goal in a healthy way, it's going to be problems. And then when you throw children into the mix, it causes even more issues. And it's another layer. And speaking to females, stop getting pregnant to keep the dude. Stop doing that. Stop doing that. It just brings a child into the middle of a situation, especially when it's rocky or unsure. Again, it goes right back to what I said in the beginning. We need to treat each other better. And if you need to get to some type of therapy to do it, then that is what you need to do. And you can't just go to 1 or 2 or even 3 sessions. You have to commit. It is a commitment. If you want to see, some type of fruitfulness that comes from your relationship, you have to commit. If you want to see fruit come from your business, you have to commit. And you not only commit, but you have to be consistent. And that is one of the things that I see that people do or don't do, is that they are not consistent. And oftentimes when you see people are not consistent in their personal lives, they're often not consistent in their business life either. They just go along to get along and don't question anything and just float. They're just floating through their life. No real goal. No real, okay, this is what I want to do. I want to save $10,000 by 2022. Just whatever the goal is. I'm not saying you have to do that, but whatever your goal is. If your goal is to buy a home, if your goal is to own a car, if your goal is to be debt free, all of that takes consistency and commitment. Everything you do. If you say, well, I want to drop a little 30, 40 pounds or whatever before the year is out. Personally, that's one of my goals. I'll put it out there. It takes consistency. Now, the pandemic isn't helping because we're all home snagging, especially the first 4 months of this ridiculous, I keep calling it the Ponderosa, commitment. People don't want to commit anymore. People just want to float. They want to be able to be loose and float and do whatever, however, whenever. I don't need to commit. I don't need to do anything else but just float around in the air. And then they wonder why they don't have anything at the end of the day. You don't have to do what I say. That is not what my podcast is for. My podcast is for me to share my experiences. And I know what it's like to not commit and don't see any fruit from things. And I know what it's like to really get on my grind and really see rewards come back from it. And trust me, the rewards feel much better than the non-committal attitude. I've been called relentless. Yes, I am relentless. But I'm kind. I'm a good person, and I'm always going to be straight up with you. And that's what this podcast does. It gives you the straight up, listen, this is things that I've dealt with. So again, we are in Women's History Month, so I'm leaning into the women right now. I don't want to see you get used. I don't want to see you fall by the wayside. And I don't mean just in relationships. I mean on your job. I've dealt with that on my job too, where there was a whole bunch of men around the table who felt like I didn't belong. Not only just because I was a woman, but I'm a woman, I'm black, I'm outspoken. What? That's a triple threat in any corporate America USA. I don't want to see women especially. I don't want to see any of my community fall to the wayside, but especially my ladies. I don't want to see you fall to the wayside. If you have dreams, don't think because you had a kid and you got a job and you got a husband that you still can't fulfill certain dreams. Of course you can. But then that's when you're going to see, is the person that you're with going to celebrate your dreams with you? They may not be interested in your dream, and that's okay. It's not their dream. It's yours. But will they at least support you? Because support is so important. And on top of that, support is a verb. Okay? Guys, if you have a dream about whatever it is that you want to do, you want to start a t-shirt line, you want to do whatever it is. I said, you know what? I love decor. I love, printed tees and all of that. And I started that part of my company the other day. I've been working on it for a while, so that's coming soon. It was important to me. I put a lot of things to the side. I decided that I want to finish my master's. So I'm going to do that. I'll be done by the end of the year. That's just a personal goal for me. I put a lot of things to the side. My music, I am a music fanatic. Sang and played piano. And I decided I'm getting back into it. So whatever that goal is that you have, and whatever that thing that just won't leave you be because it's like an untapped, thing that you've always wanted to do, as long as it's within reason. We're not talking about you taking off and going all over the world if you have small children that you can't take with you. I'm not saying that. We're not trying to bust up relationships here. But what we're trying to do is get people to come to the table and support each other. Within your family, within your relationships, on your job, whatever it is. We need to treat each other better. We came out of 4 years of someone who spewed hate from the very top of our government. And that doesn't mean that Kamala is perfect. It doesn't mean that Biden is perfect. It does not. But they're setting in place, at least trying to set in place, a good foundation for us to begin again and treat each other with respect. So if you want to further this conversation, feel free at Onyx Queen Media on all socials, but I'm especially active on Instagram pretty much every day. If you want to email me, you can email me info@onyxqueenmedia.com. That's ONYXQUEENMEDIA. OnyxQueenMedia.com. I will talk to you soon. Bye, you guys. Hey everybody, I just wanted to check back in again. I wanted to add this to this episode because I just think it's important. Here are some personal resources that I have used to get help and to get help for friends and family members and just personal relationships. I think that it's very important that each one teach one, and here are some resources that I have, especially since I have mentioned therapy. And I think it's very important, especially for the Black and Latino communities. We tend to shy away from therapy. So here are some resources that I have used that have been absolutely phenomenal. The first one is blackfemaletherapists.com. That's blackfemaletherapists.com. The second one is therapyforblackmen.org. That's therapyforblackmen.org. And also, you can also follow all of these entities and everything on Instagram as well. But there's another one, Therapy for Black Girls. So if you go to therapyforblackgirls.com, you will also find other resources there as well. Okay, so that's therapyforblackgirls.com. That is therapyforblackmen.org. There is also blackfemaletherapists.com, and they all have extensive directories, and you can find a therapist in your area. They also have different programs and podcasts associated with them as well. But I just wanted to add that because I think it's very important not only to talk about it, but to be about it. So again, thank you for tuning into my podcast. Thank you so much for the support, and I wish you well. Bye-bye.